than actually getting
It definitely,
together.
definitely wasn't our fault last year, Mark.
Well,
Definitely wasn't our fault.
But
And we've gone early on this one. We've gone early. We've thrown down the challenge.
yeah, for them to come here though.
No, we said we'll go there.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
I'll make a change. Fair enough. Good stuff. That's all the results covered anyway. So we shall move on. And yeah, I think we've got time to squeeze in some chat about the World Cup. Let's do that.
Let's do that.
So we talked a bit about the World Cup in the opening, David, and we've got some of the World Cup squads are starting to emerge. I thought France were the first ones to announce theirs, but then I was reminded that Greece announced theirs a few weeks ago. In terms of the men's competition, more pertinently, I suppose England's women have announced their squad as well. We could probably dig into that one a bit more. So let's run through some of the men's squads that have been announced so far. Anyway, though, I'll do the Greece men's squad first.
Phew.
So Jordan Meads is going to be captaining Coach Steve Georgalis' side. Lachlan Ilias, who played for Souths and played reasonably well this season, didn't he? Let's face it. He's in there. He's going to be their star man. Stefanos Bastas, Nikolaos Bosmos, Terry Constantinou, sorry, Jake Cambos, John Mitzias, Nick Mugios, Rob Tulitau, Sebastian Sell, Chase Robinson, Costa Katsidonis, Mitchell Zampides, Greg.
I'm so glad
Greg
you got a great one.
Koutsimpogorgos.
Oh my God.
Theodoros Nianikas. Billy Sikrikas. Adam Vranos. Aris Dodamanis. Peter Mamuezelos. Liam Sutin.
He's just making these up.
Nick Flokas. Ioannis Rousoglu, Ioannis Nake, Billy Magoulias, we've heard of him, Miles Gal, that makes up their squad. So there's a couple of guys in there that have got some NRL experience. There's a few guys in there that have played in and around for a few years and have been quite experienced playing for Greece, have played in League One in years gone by, have played in France, that sort of thing, or played in lower grades in the NRL. But it's probably the South Sydney guys, and in particular Lachlan Ilias, that's the main names in that side. But I'm sure we'll learn how to pronounce all of those names by the time England play Greece in Sheffield later this year. Do you want to do the France squad?
Yes. I might not fare any better, Mark, but I'll give it a go. At least I've heard of quite a few of these.
Well, they've all played in Super League apart from one of them, so that's good.
Yeah, except from for Maxime Puech.
No, he played in Super League this year for Toulouse.
Oh, did he play? Did he as well?
Louis Jouffre's never played in Super League, has he?
So for France, most of these guys have been drawn from Toulouse and Catalan, which not a surprise. The sprinkling of others in them. So we've got Lambert Belmar from Toulouse, Alrich da Costa from Catalan, Jordan Desaria from Catalan, Morgan Esquer from Salford, Benjamin Garcia from Catalan, Tony Gigo from Toulouse, Mikel Goudemont from Catalan, Benjamin Julian from Catalan, Matthew Lagarde from Catalan, Sami Soni-Langi from Catalan, Corentin Lacam from Catalan, who's not someone I'm familiar with, Paul Marcon.
He's the really tall one.
Oh, is he?
He's just been let go by them, actually, but yeah.
Oh, right. So maybe no longer Catalan. Paul Marcon from Toulouse, Anthony Marion from Toulouse, Arthur Morgue from Catalan, Eloi Pelissier from Toulouse, Maxime Puech from Albi, Arthur Romano from Catalan, Cesar Rouge from Catalan, Justin Sanguer from Toulouse, Paul Seguer from Catalan, Gadwin Springer from Featherstone, Maxime Stefani from Toulouse, Luis Jouffre from Halifax, and Fouad Yaha from Catalan.
I think the big standout miss there is no Theo Farge,
Yeah.
he's injured, isn't he? So he's not available for selection. So that's a shame for France because he obviously would be their best player. He's their one player who's won multiple trophies and that sort of thing.
He had a good last World Cup as well. I thought he played well.
Yeah, and you can rely on him a bit more than you can rely on the likes of Escaré and Gigot. You know, you're a bit more maverick types.
Yeah.
But they've got talent, and I think they've got a stronger than you might think forward pack, but they are missing their very best prop forward, aren't they? Through injury, the big lad. Oh, what's his name?
It's no good talking to me, mate.
From Catalans, missed most of the year. I had it in my head when I started talking, and it's gone out of my head by the time I finished talking. Everyone knows what I'm talking about, I'm sure.
Absolutely, it'll come back to you.
But we've known he's been out of the tournament for a while. I don't remember his name, but we know he's been out of the. We knew for a while that he wasn't going to be playing. So yeah, but I think they've still got some decent forwards in there. I like Balmas, I like Sangare. I think they're decent players. Paul Seguia's had a lot more game time this year than he's had in other recent years, and Mikel Gudeman's very, very solid as well. Adding to the mix, Ben Garcia, I think is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be excited to see how Arthur Morgan goes. On the big stage.
Do you assume he'll play at 6, or do you think he'll play at fullback?
I'm assuming he'll play 6, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, I think that they'll want to play Escaré and Morg in the same side, won't they? So yeah. I think that'll be the way that they do that. I think the obvious choices are there for Fouad Jaha on one of the wing, and looking at the squad is named, I think it's gonna have to be Marchon on the other wing. You've got Pelissier and Da Costa as your hooking options. I think that's not bad at all. No. Not world class, but it's not bad.
No, it's not bad. I mean, I think that they should give a decent account of themselves in the group games, and then if there's a fair win behind them, they might be able to sneak into the quarterfinals.
Yeah, Samoa have named their squad as well. This is. Get ready to shudder and just hope that they don't gel very well, even though there's quite a few players who've played together or who play together. Let's hope they don't gel well for that first game. But you've got Josh Alloy from the... I'm doing a bad job already. From Manly. You've got Famunu Brown from the West Tigers. Stephen Crichton from Penrith. Matthew Fagai from St George Illawarra, Braden Hamlin-Ueli from Cronulla, Chanel Harris-Tavita from the Warriors, Royce Hunt from Cronulla, Oregon Kalfusi from Parramatta, Luciano Leilua from the Cowboys, Spencer Leniu from the Panthers, Danny Levi from Huddersfield. Obviously, there's an injury question about him. We've talked about that a few weeks ago, but that's a bit of a gamble, but I think he would be a good option there for them at hooker. Jerome Luai from Penrith, he's going to be their main man, their star man. You've got Taylor May from the Panthers, and then Tyrone May from the Catalan Dragons, Anthony Milford from the Knights, Josh Papali'i from the Raiders, Junior Paulo from the Parramatta Eels, Jaden Sewer, who's at the Dragons now, Joseph Suali. This was a big news story, wasn't it, that he's opted for the Samoans rather than for the Australians. He's the young Roosters winger who's had a pretty good start to his career. 16 tries in his first NRL, 24 NRL appearances. So he's a big boost, I think, for Samoa. Hamiso Tabuai Fido, the Hammer, he's from the Cowboys. Isaac Tago from the Panthers. Marty Tupau from the Manly Sea Eagles. Brian Toto from the Panthers. And I wish he was the last one so I could say I'm Brian too, but it's not the last one. Kelma Tuilangi from the West Tigers is the final name in that squad. So there's a few guys on there that I'm not super familiar with because I've not watched so much NRL over the last 2 years, but there's a lot of names, especially the guys from the Panthers and and that we've seen go very far, haven't we, and be very good. Milford was fantastic in the last World Cup over here for the Samoans. He was a real breakout player for them back in that tournament. And they'll be hoping that he'll perform to the same levels this year. But Luai's the main man, isn't he?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it obviously looks an extremely strong squad. I mean, I don't watch the NRL religiously, but even I can tell that that's, a very strong squad. It's really interesting, I think, that the whole World Cup thing's really interesting. I think there's a real fear that we have that our competition is inferior to the NRL, and I wouldn't necessarily deny that. But what's fascinating for me is how close will we be to them? And I think the first game against Samoa is going to be a real test of, can we compete with guys who are playing in that competition week in, week out? It'll be absolutely fascinating. We're worried, I mean, obviously concerning, but on the other hand, it's an opportunity. So let's see how we go.
Yeah, I think the difference this time around as well is, certainly when you look at this Samoa side, their first choice spine plays at a top level, whereas before, in the last few tournaments, you've kind of had them playing reserve grade or not first choice guys in the spine, but then having a really good pack and three quarters around that, or maybe one star player in the spine sort of thing. That's out the window this time. They've got stars throughout that squad, throughout whatever 13 and 17 they'll put out on a match day. So yeah, it will be interesting to see. Let's cover off a few other stories around the men's squad. So we talked about Johnny Lomax being a doubt. I have seen lots of suggestions that Mark Sneyd and Harry Smith have basically both been called into the England setup to audition for a place in the squad if Lomax don't want to go. It feels like so that's interesting. Chris Hill and Callum Watkins are strongly linked with getting back in as well, so they'll be blasts from the past, but at least I guess guys who know what they're doing at the top level, who've had good seasons this year as well, bounce back seasons for both of them. I don't know if you've been hearing any other whispers for the England squad ahead of it being announced on Friday this week.
No, I haven't really, Mark. I mean, obviously Percival's played a couple of games now. He'll be getting his leg assessed again to see whether this problem he's been having with fluid on the bone has settled, and therefore he's able to continue playing or not. Because there was genuine concern he may never play again earlier in the season, but he looked good to me in the last couple of weeks. So that's promising, I think, and hopefully he can do a job at centre because we don't really have many.
No. Couple of blows for Tonga, one through suspension, one through injury. So Jason Taumalolo has been crying his eyes out all weekend after getting banned because apparently he thinks that he should still be able to play for Tonga. And I don't necessarily disagree with the sentiments of it, but it's his own fault. He was penalised for a high shot on Isaiah Papali'i in the game against Parramatta at the weekend. He's picked up a 3-match suspension, which will rule him out. The Tongans do have a warm-up game, don't they, in Halifax? So I guess he'll get to use one of the games for that, one of the bans for that, but he'll rule him out of a couple of the World Cup games. Big blow, real sad, real shame. So yeah, that is a shame for him. And Stefano Utoikamanu, I don't know, I've pronounced that one wrong, but he's decided he can't be arsed with the World Cup. He's going to prepare himself to play for West Tigers next year because that's more important to him. So yeah, he is, I guess, maybe he wasn't selected and that's why he's come out and said this, but anyway, so that's someone who's not going to be there. Tane Milne for Fiji, someone else who's not going to be there, again through suspension. People who watch the games will have seen his pretty bad high shot clothesline tackle at the end of that game, near the end of that game between Souths and Penrith, facing a 6-game ban for that tackle on Spencer Leniu. So that will rule him out of the whole tournament. Even with the pre-tournament game against England, it'd still miss all 3